And we do want to welcome in independent testing expert Scott Smith now. Scott's team conducting tests in East Palestine since early on in the crisis. Scott, thank you so much for being here.
Natasha, I really appreciate you having me on tonight. Thank you.
I do want to start with this lawsuit, Scott, filed just 48 hours ago. Why now? What are you hoping for?
Well, first of all, the Government Accountability Project, whistleblower.org, I really appreciate Leslie Pacey and the organization reaching out to me. This is going to allow me to continue my work and better serve the community. They have the lawyers and the resources to be able to deal with this. And why now? It's because the EPA has stonewalled the Freedom of Information Act request, and the EPA has refused to test residents that are showing health, that apparently are showing health symptoms. The EPA is refusing to test their property. Those are two things that are very suspicious. Why isn't the EPA testing residents' soil and indoor air? And what does the EPA have to hide? Why won't they produce the FOIA request?
You know, and Scott, you have said that people in East Palestine are getting sicker by the day. Can you tell me about your latest testing results? What are you finding, and how do those results differ from what the EPA is saying?
Yeah, first of all, I'm in East Palestine tonight at a resident's house who is getting sicker. And I want to say that not all residents are getting sicker, but there are quite a few that continue to get sicker. And what appears is that, this contamination didn't spread evenly in the soil and across all these different surfaces. And what we are finding is the appearance that as this remediation's got underway, it seems like the dust particles and are continuing to be re-released with dioxins and other contaminants. And I'm really not at odds with the EPA. The EPA accepts my independent certified EPA lab results. The EPA is not testing soil near ground zero where I am. And I have an expression, you can't find what you don't look for. And if you're not looking for these dioxins and other contaminants on surfaces within homes, in air within homes, and in soil, you can't find them. And my offer remains open, even with the litigation. The railroad, Norfolk Southern, the EPA, I will test side by side with them. And I've given them every opportunity to test side by side with me and see what the results come out to be. And they just will not take me up on the offer. So it's hard to understand.
I see. And so the EPA maintains that, it is still safe for residents to live there. But you're saying that in specific homes and specific areas, you are finding significantly elevated levels of toxic compounds, including dioxins. Is that right?
Yeah, and I have a great team of experts around me, including, a doctor that specializes in these kind of chemical exposures. And here's where I have a problem with the EPA being a little bit disingenuous. They are citing singular exposures to singular chemicals. There's over 50 chemicals here. It's a fact. There are no standards for a combination of exposure to these chemicals. And that is called synergistic toxicity. And every human is different. And these chemicals, some of them, there really are no safe levels, especially with immunocompromised people. We all know what that means from COVID. So, and the bottom line is, Natasha, the health symptoms were not ubiquitous in the community. Children coughing up blood, children urinated blood, adults urinated blood. There are a lot of female issues with menstrual cycles. None of this was present and prevalent in the community the way it is now before. So in many ways, you don't need my testing or anybody else's testing to know something is going on with health here, and it is getting worse in some of these people, and they need help.
Okay. Scott Smith, I appreciate you bringing this to us, and I appreciate you staying on top of this. Independent testing expert, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.